Hello, everybody.
Light is on. We should be live. What is happening, Fish and Friends? Welcome to another live. I have the Frank with me here. Hopefully, we will have Adam. We were waiting. I didn't get a message back from him yet. He could have fallen asleep on the couch. Maybe he's gathering up materials. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see kind of what this turns into. But thank you all for joining on a Saturday night. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all coming to watch us hang out. It should be a fun night. We're talking real stuff. That's why I was excited to have Adam on, because I keep checking my phone here to see if he had issues getting on or the link or something, but I don't see anything yet. It should be fun because he works on reels, does reel repair, cleaning, all that fun stuff. So I was really hoping we could pick his brain on some of this stuff, but I guess we'll see. Well, I guess we shall see here. Frank, how are you today?
I am very well, Debo. I'm upset that I'm not talking to you from a hotel getting ready for ice fishing tomorrow, but maybe sometime in the next few weeks I'll be able to make up for it.
That stinks. Yeah, Frank was saying didn't have safe ice. I'm like, well, I know the feeling. We didn't have any down here. I missed the short 2-week window we had to get out and do some ice fishing, maybe a little more. Yeah. There were some people on some really small ponds, but I kind of missed it, and I'm over it. It's going to be a year of no ice fishing, so I didn't even get a video out this week. People were asking me, are you okay? How come nobody? Yeah, I'm okay. Hell, I'm just busy as heck. Oh, man. I got to find this balance. I want to get two videos a week plus a live. I got to get my butt back on it. I have Monday off, so I've got 2 videos planned to go through. We'll see. Hopefully those get all done and out in early next week. So let's start. We'll start. Hopefully Adam will hop in here with us. I did tell him 7:30 Central Time, right? That would be a mistake because I think he's Eastern. But I guess he would have been ready to go before us. Yeah, 7:30 p.m. Central Time. Okay. So, all right, we will see. But okay, tonight we're talking real fishing, real fishing, real repair, real care, reels. So any questions you all have lined up, get ready. Hopefully, if Adam joins us, we can pick his brain on some of that. But I wanted to see kind of what the chat thought. What do you all think is the most common reel that Adam sees that he cleans or fixes? What do you all think? I was going to say, I see he works on quite a few Shimanos. I was going to say a Corrado was probably the most popular one that he sees, or an SLX. That's one of those two.
The Corrado K is the one that I have a question about when he comes on.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting because I wanted to pick his brain on some changes. I get people asking me about custom handles or drag, or what can you do to sport up your reel, modify it and all that stuff. And man, like for me, we'll see, what he says if he hops on. I think the best bang for the buck, if you want like a good, smooth working reel, number one is carbon drag. If you don't have those, throw in carbon drag on cost, basically nothing. And it ups performance so much. Now drag has come a long way. They used to have like the crummy felt washers. Some of them, like the old Luz, I want to say, actually even had like the plasticky ones. But now so many of them come with like the multi-stack drags with the carbon drag, and it's just so much smoother. Who was it? I was talking to somebody that said, yeah, my drag was kind of crummy. I took your advice. Was that you last time?
I did talk about changing out the stock ones for carbon on my old generation Fuego. Well, last generation, not old generation.
Yeah, it just makes such a difference, of one little
problem change. The problem I had with it, for those who weren't listening last week, the last generation of Fuego reels, mine and others that I talked to, it was inconsistent. You would turn it the same number of clicks in one direction and get a different change in the amount of drag you were getting from one time that you did it to the next. I don't know why exactly the carbon washers fixed that, but it was, I think, $15 worth of parts. So I was more than willing to try it out, and it worked out.
Yep. Probably number 2, I would say, is bearings. A good aftermarket bearing. Of course, we talked about that. I've had Scott on over at Spool Speed Bearings, Boca bearings. There's a bunch of higher end ones, but essentially a ceramic or a hybrid bearing where you don't have to oil them. or grease them. You can if you want, but you lose that spinning power. So you want to go with a really, really, really thin bearing grease, or excuse me, bearing oil. If you want to do that, that way they still have, ultimate free spin as much as they can. But I mean, the thing that I've always said is you're not going to gain like, 10, 15, 20, 30 yard, like this big, huge, crazy casting distance. Oh, good. Hey, look, what a show we've got tonight. Already froze. Adam hasn't joined. And I didn't restart before because my computer already had the restart thing on. Gosh dang it. Oh, stupid thing. Anyway, so putting those in, the biggest thing is just ease of use. I mean, putting those bearings in, you can just tell how much easier it is to cast. But yeah, those to me would be my two biggest things. And like I said, it would be interesting to see what somebody that works on them all the time would see. Hold on, I'm going to jump out. I'll be right back. Frank, let's get a question going, and I'll let you kind of run something here. What do we have? Do we have any good cooler lids? I have some Daiwas. How tight should the spool tensioner be? Depends, cooler lid. If it's some of the new ones that have the zero tension knob, they say you're not supposed to mess with it at all. I've done it. I mean, you can kind of mess with it if you like, but if it's one of those with like the real short, I could show you here, short little tiny tension knob, you don't need to do anything. But otherwise, on my Daiwas, I leave them just to where there's a tiny bit of side to side play, or when it just takes that out. The brakes on those are so good with the Mag Force, where it's the induction rotor that moves in and out of the reel. They're just so consistent and good. Once you get it dialed in, you're good to go. But yeah, I wouldn't say anything out of the ordinary for setting them up. What else we have here? I have all my reels clean and serviced, all fresh lubed and all. Yeah, how many people I should get? Actually, I can't do that because I have to bring up a thing. Let me jump out here. Scott, I do want to say new member. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you for becoming a member on the channel. All my members out there, I appreciate the heck out of all y'all. Anybody taking time and money to support me on a monthly basis, I love it. That is awesome. Hook Life said, stop by the Thunderhawk fishing booth today. That's cool. Oh, or wait, did he stop by the headquarters? I'm not sure if it was the booth or the headquarters. Either way, that's cool. Yep, we've had Mr. Dove on from Thunderhawk. He's a good cat. Ooh, here's a good one. Frank, what do you use? What's your favorite oil that you use?
I use the Daiwa stuff because it comes in the nice, easy to use applicator. I've tried others. What's that cheap stuff? Darn it. I can't remember. Something that they had at Canadian Tire, which is a sort of have a little bit of everything store that we have up here. Many of you won't be associated with it. Not quite on the scale of Walmart, but similar idea. They have automotive, they have sporting goods, they have housewares, but whatever that crummy oil was no good. So I said, okay, I'm just going to go with the Daiwa stuff. I have been told not to mix different brands of oils. So when I do apply it, I generally apply it to a clean one. I don't know if it matters or not, because I used to mix brands of oils all the time when I was a bicycle mechanic and never had any issues. But I will do anything to keep from having bad stories to tell about fishing instead of good stories. So.
Yeah, and the thing with, and we can actually look at some because I just got some new stuff to try. Let me see if this is what you picked up, because there's some of the stuff that I've been told to use. Punch actually talked about it, that he really likes that when he was on. Let me share screen, bring up the old Warehouse O tackle. Let's see. I was looking at bait casters here before. I was going to go through some questions and stuff on brands, but I guess not now. Let's see. What is that under? Accessories. There we go. Real Care. Okay. So I picked up some of this stuff. This Daiwa Space Age Real Grease is supposed to be really good. So I picked up some of this to try. I think that's what Adam was using in his last video. So I was interested to talk to him about that.
I also have that grease, and the Daiwa Needle Nose Real Oiler is this one beside it there on the screen is the stuff that I use for for the light lubricant.
Yep. Yeah, that stuff is awesome. Brando keeps that in the boat. You all saw a couple videos where that saved me. My Daiwa 80 was screeching, needed some oil, and that fixed it right up. Yep. But this is the type of stuff. So they have lubes out there that are super, super, super thin, almost like water. And that's what you'll want to use for those bearings. Scott sells some. You could get this Boca bearing. I think there might be another one on here from another company or something, but a real thin oil, so it's not going to gum up those bearings if you're looking to get them really, really free. Now, stock bearings are automatically going to come packed with grease. So, like if you take the regular bearings out of like your Lewis, those are going to have grease already packed in them. So, like Scott showed me, you take brake clean in the red can, like the brake cleaning stuff, and that pulls all that grease out of there. Just soak them in that. That's what I use for like my metal parts, my gears. Don't want to get it on plastic and stuff, but for the gears and stuff. And then otherwise, I just use rubbing alcohol when I'm cleaning them now. That was actually a tip from Adam too, and somebody else that I talked to back when I did the real cleaning and video, just to get other people's opinions on what they used. And that works the best because it evaporates in the air. So I did get some of this to try, some of this grease. Historically, the Shimano Real Grease is what I've used. It says it's a Star Drag grease, but I use it for everything. It's been amazing. I did also get some of the Cals to try. I've liked it. And then I also got some of the Lose This Real Oil to try, just so I have like an actual bottle of it. Because honestly, I haven't bought real oil for I don't know how long. When you get like a Corrado or some of the Lose, they come with a little free thing of oil, and that's what I've used to lube my reels. So you don't need anything super crazy expensive, but yeah, I would say I don't know how many different questions of, can I use olive oil? Can I use like all this other stuff? Like besides, like if you have a pew, like actual pew oil, or like a knife oil, like you're folding knife, anything like that type of stuff is okay. But I still get like kind of, because you don't know what's in it. Is it something that's supposed to eat grease? You know, I just want like an actual real lubricant or, you know, an actual grease. So I would say, you know, for as much as these are, like this Shimano one $5.99, this Daiwa $6.99, and then get a thing of oil. I mean, these will last you forever because you're only using a tiny amount of this stuff. So I'm interested to see what those are, because I have had a number of people ask me about, oh, that was the other one, the Lose one, the Hyper Speed bearing lubricant. But I've had people ask me about the Lose stuff, so I got some of this and then some of that grease. So we'll see how those do. That should be pretty fun.
The one that I didn't like, I remembered when I saw the package, it was the Quantum stuff, the hot sauce.
Hot sauce, yeah. I know a lot of people that don't like that one.
I don't know if it was on the shelf for a really long time before I bought it, or if it was going to be horrible no matter when I purchased it. But I didn't have good luck with it.
Yeah, I personally don't like the real butter, the Ardent real butter stuff. I've had crap luck with that. It's too watery. Yeah. I know a number of people that like it, but that's cool if you find what works for you. I just found this stuff was too watery and not sticky enough. So after you'd pack it on the main gear, you know, I usually put it like half to 3/4 of the way around. And then as you turn it, it spreads all that grease into your gear. With this stuff, it was so thin, you would still get that really grindy, metally sound. But switching to this, it's sticky enough that it stays right on there. So yeah, I guess that's kind of my deal. I did not like the Ardent stuff. I think I used the Abu once and it was okay. Wasn't my favorite. I think just the grease was all I had of that. But yeah, the Shimano hands down has been my favorite for grease, and you don't need a ton, like I said, so it lasts. I think I've gone through 2 for the whole time that I've got back into fishing. Well, we've gone through 1 and then like 1 new one that I've had. Okay, what kind of questions do we have out here? What do we got for Lightning? Does he upgrade to ceramics? I don't care for Boca's no better than some of the China ABEC 7s. I've had a lot of people say that as well. ZPI and Hedgehog, both great. Yeah, I don't know. I've honestly not had horrible luck with any of them. I know, you can get like so the ABEC is the rating for the bearing. Scott did a really good job of talking about that. Like some of them will have like such a tolerance where they're used in like dental tools or medical tools, like these little tiny bearings. And he's like, you know, for fishing stuff, you don't need that. And he kind of went through what all of them are, but I know he's done a bunch of testing. He's gone over to the factories in Korea and China, you know, watched where they're made, which is pretty interesting to see. So yeah, I know Adam does. Like I said, I don't know. Did he message me? Did he have issues? No, I don't know. Darn it. But yeah, I know he does upgrade to ceramic and stuff. I know he likes them. But yeah, I've heard the same thing. A lot of people just kind of get in the off name brand and having really good luck with them. So
I have to imagine that when it comes to a reel and a ceramic bearing, that it wouldn't make as much difference as other applications where there's more of a load being borne. Because cycling, for instance, to go back to something else I know a bit about, the cheap ceramic bearings were great for a little while, but they would get contaminated. And because the ceramic bearings were so hard, they would mash and bust up any little bits of grit that were in the bearing, and it would ruin the race. And then you would have something that was notchy and wasn't smooth anymore. But that's because you got, 150 to 250 pounds of person on top of the 12 to 25 pound bicycle. And
sure.
But I got to imagine that there's going to be a little more forgiveness, even if you're getting cheap Alibaba bearings. But maybe Heather will buy me a whole bunch of different ceramic bearings to try out for my birthday, and then I can do a report for you guys next time.
Okay, hey, we got to do some testing here, Philip. Yeah, I like it that it's the space age. Yeah, back from no, it wouldn't have been this. Oh yeah, I guess it would have. Yeah, the Great Race Time. Yeah. CRC is the brake clean. Yeah, whichever one. There's the one in the red can, not the one. There's a couple different ones. Some of them has like a white lithium grease in it too. There's a couple of them, but yeah, I just got it at Walmart. It's just the one in the red can. It's just brake cleaner, and that works amazing. Only for the metal, aluminum, brass stuff, no plastic or anything. So be careful of that.
I want to get an ultrasonic cleaner just to play with, because I have other things that I could use it for too.
Yeah, Adam does have one of those too. I know a couple of people that do real cleaning. They got one. They're only like $100 off Amazon, which it's come down in price a lot, it seems. But let's see. Fisherman 83 says, I like the Daiwa grease, Lucas oil, and then the Boca oil for bearings. Okay. Sly Fox, thank you, man. 75 likes and 200 people watching. Yeah, throw a thumbs up out there, folks. If you like it, it's free. Helps me out. I appreciate that a lot. According to my friend, shy away from using Quaker State. Yeah, I don't know that I'd use Quaker State on it, or any sort of vegetable or anything like that. Let's see. There's Mr. Stubby Dog. Hi, Moose. Every time I watch a real cleaning video, I get more intimidated at the risk of attempt. No, man, it's just like anything else. Once you do it a few times, my biggest thing is if it's your first time, take pictures as you go, or take a little video on your phone as you go, and take the parts off. As you're taking them off, lay them in order. So, when you're putting them back together, it's going to be the exact opposite direction. But it's just like anything. Now, I will say that cleaning spinning reels is a pain in the butt. So I was going to ask Adam on some of that if he had any tips. But bait casters, yeah, once you do it a few times, they're all pretty similar, and it's not a huge deal.
Yeah, I took that tip from you the first time you did a reel cleaning video, and I laid everything out in the order I removed it. And if I knew I was going to have to remove several parts at the same time, I took a picture so I knew how they were supposed to go back together.
Yes.
Because having them in the right order doesn't tell me which way is up, which way is down.
Yep. And whichever way I took it off, that's how I would lay them. So I know when I pick it up, it would go back on. Yeah.
The other thing I like to do is get a long, shallow bin and put a towel in the bottom and remove the parts over top of that, because I find that I have some fat, clumsy fingers, and sometimes little parts bounce away, and it takes me 45 minutes to find them, and that just makes me not clean my reels. So,
yes. Alan, what's reasonable price for cleaning? And I think maybe spooling baitcaster reels. I would say what I've seen, probably anywhere from $20 to $30 per reel is pretty standard. And that might seem like a lot. You're like, oh, I've got $5 5 reels. That's going to be 100 to $120, $30. Yeah, it seems like a lot, but if you lose one piece out of one of those, like shipping, getting the part and everything, you're already at like $10-15, at least. And then if you take it apart and break something, well, now you're out the whole thing. So if you don't want to mess with any of that, you want them to be done by somebody else coming back like brand new, I think it's worth it. I had it done there for a while, and then I was just like, I need to find some of these, how to do some of these myself. Like, is this too hard? So
Heather says that even if she was willing to buy me a bunch of ceramic bearings, she has no idea what I'm talking about. But I thought that she and I had established that I buy my own presents and she just wraps them up and hands them to me. But maybe we're not doing that anymore. I don't know.
I like that idea. I hate shopping for presents. Lucas, yeah. So TK, is it Trey or no? TK, what's his name? Trey. Oh, what's his name? He has a YouTube thing. I know Tackle Junkies talked about him. I forget what his name is. TH Customs or something like that, I think is who you're talking about. Trey Harple. Did a video about it. Duthalon oil and grease. I don't know. I've never heard of that stuff. Yeah, I don't know the video, but I know he's a guy that does a bunch of that. Jim is actually who I talked to originally, like years ago, that would have been like 2016, like when I started tackling more of that. Asked him questions because he had a video out there, 2017, something like that. 16? I don't know. Time kind of flies and blurs. But yeah, there's a couple different people that kind of mess with that stuff out there and do videos. I think it's fun. It's fun to get into them, crack them open. Let's see. They're smoother after an upgrade. You do get a little bit more casting distance. I've tested multiple. Most are the exact same you can get from AliExpress. Yeah, I think that's the difference that I see too. Yeah, they're smoother. They are louder, but easier to cast. Not necessarily like crazy distance. I did get better distance with them, but it wasn't like 30, 40, 50 yards. It was, maybe 15 to 20 feet from what I can remember. But the biggest thing was just ease of it. Like you could just cast easier, like flipping and pitching, man, it just zips off the reel. Let's see. Question. Why did Shimano use SLX name for fishing and bikes? I don't know anything about bikes, so I couldn't tell you that.
I told Philip that they have also reused Ultegra and XT, although the SLX and XT are separate groups in the mountain bike world. They put them together in one reel. I think maybe they've just run out of ideas because they have a lot of products to name.
Yeah. Yes.
They really old stuff that was used in both fishing and cycling was the X-Age. EXAGE. They don't have bicycle group anymore with that name on it, but I don't know if they still have fishing stuff with the name on it because I pay attention to the stuff I pay attention to and forget about everything else.
So. X-Age? I don't remember.
Yeah.
I know nothing about bicycles. Yeah. Like I had a Huffy when I was young.
Yeah.
Anybody still got a Huffy out there? Lightning had a good question. Yeah, this would have been interesting to see. Whose gears are the cleanest cut and which ones have the most rub spots? Yeah, I wonder what like, so with Shimano's micro module gearing, it's supposed to have smaller gears that mesh together. I think that's part of the reason they're so smooth, but I've heard from people that those break easier with the smaller tooth on them. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see somebody that works on those all the time. Like, is it consistently Luz is always breaking, or Shimano, as nice people think that they are, is it because those small teeth, they're more prone to breaking? I don't know. From the ones that I've seen when I've worked on them, I mean, I don't know that I know Tackle Junkie had one that we were talking about. He had a gear tooth that was chipped. I think it was a Daiwa actually that he got brand new. And when he was reeling it, there would be a click, like click, 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 and it was that one little spot. And finally, he took it all apart, and there was one little chip, just tiny little nick out of it, and it just made you could hear it making this click sound. I've never had that. I have had a pawl. I'm sorry, not the pawl, the worm gear in front that had a little nick out of it. And I don't know if that was a rock or if I dropped it or whatever, and it would stick. So I've seen that. My dad's old one had the same thing where that piece, it's like if you've never seen it in the worm gear, it's got like little tracks in there. So as you're spinning it around, it's got this little piece that's kind of like a V in it. And it rides in that, which is what takes your line guide back and forth as this worm gear is going around. It looks like a drill bit in there, kind of. And that piece just rides in there back and forth. And like dad's, right, that would be the pawl, isn't it? Hold on. I'm completely blanking out. What's the piece that connects to your main gear? Or is that the pawl? I forget what that piece is called, the tooth. I don't know. I'm having a brain fart. But anyway, that little piece had just a little tiny chip out of it. And so it would get stuck on one side. So if you ever have that happening, like on your reel going back and forth, check the sides because let's go ahead and put a bait caster here. Of course I don't. Oh, I'd have to get up and get one. But on your bait caster, on that little worm gear in front, if you get like for frogging, for example, I've had scum and stuff stuck on one side where you get to one and it would stick. And once you clear all that out, it's going back and forth just fine. But that's something I've seen. I'm trying to think of what else, like things that go wrong. Honestly, for me, it's just keeping them cleaned and lubed and oiled up. And if you do that, usually you don't have the big issues. Sand, I will say, will absolutely destroy a reel, and you don't need much of it all.
Yeah.
It's just a tiny little sprinkle or dusting, and oh man, it can wreck havoc. I have had that where it's just I've cleaned it, I've done everything I can, and somehow there's like still these little pieces, and it's just this, and eventually that's going to ruin a reel. That's going to like Frank was saying, end up notching in it, breaking a piece, crunching in there, messing with tolerances, something. So it's like, once you have that, people are like, is it okay? Can I just dip it in water? Well, no, maybe that will work. But the thing is with sand is like, you've got to take it all apart and get it all out, because on the reels, some of them will they'll lose. It's got a little piece on the bottom of the gearbox. So your reel's here where you'd reel it. On the bottom side of that, on the handle side, there's a little piece you can take out with a screw. And it's actually for quick access. So you can like grease the main gear because it's right where the main gear is at. But they will also have reels like that where they can drain. So if you get water in it, you don't want water to get stuck inside there, metal parts and water, rust, bad stuff. Where was I going with that? But yeah, I was going to say, yeah, don't dip your reels in there and just, let them sit, dip them in water and let them sit to clean them. Not a good idea. So I did see a $10 bomb here too. Scott, let me see if I can find your donation here. Thank you, Scott. Anybody that donates, I appreciate the heck out of y'all. Steve, look at that. The two best reel maintenance videos, Debo and TJ. We appreciate that a lot. Jim does some good reel video stuff. He is a true gear nerd. Tackle visor, Garrett. He was a good one back in the day. I loved nerding out to his stuff. He would tear them all the way down. He was super smart. I think somebody said, who was that I had him on? They knew him. But he got a job in like the industry. He worked for like a fishing place or some deal where he couldn't keep doing videos because it was like a conflict of interest. Somebody said he took a different job or something, but yeah, he did great stuff, tearing them all the way down and comparing. Let's see. Bruce says Cleanse Oil is hands down the best grease I've used so far. Penn Ardent Abu H2O. Cleanse Oil sticks to the gears like rubber. Dude, that's the thing that I noticed is a lot of those cheap ones, I want to say the Abu stuff, the Ardent, and I had another off-brand one that I got from. You're right there.
Somebody's making
have
noise.
A fishing lure stuck in it.
I don't know who it is. It might. I'll be right back.
Okay. But yeah, exactly that, Bruce. They were just so watery. You get it all on there, and you would, you'd work your gears, and it would still feel grindy. That, when you have like a reel that's completely dry, you just get that real grindy mechanical sound. So yeah, that's what I've looked for too, is those greases that really stick to the gear, and in those teeth, like you said, like rubber cement. So Cleansol, I'll have to check that out. I've not used that one. Tyler said his local shop does cleanings for $25 a reel. Yeah, I would say that's probably pretty normal, 20 to 30. Parts and orders, the biggest tip. Yeah, I've tore a few apart. Need to cut them all. Yes, taking them off and laying them down in the exact order. Yeah, swearing angler. I'm assuming you mean you do your own. So you got a big tub, a big dish, and clean it all in there. That way, if parts fall or anything, they're all contained. Oh, Trey Harple. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Fishing Fix. Trey does nice breakdowns. Tackle visors was great too. Let's see. I've used Luz, zero issues. Yeah, I think Luz gets a bad rap. I don't know. There was somebody commenting on like if anybody uses any sort of Doyo, Chinese made, like all this other stuff. I've used Luz. I've used Abu. Some of their stuff is made in China. Some of it's made in Korea. I'm not going to get into all the politics of it. I use it for what they are and tell you. I've still got an old Luz LFS from when they were made in China. Now they're actually made in the Korean plant, which they're usually a little higher up. The stuff in the Korea were the more higher end ones of it, but now even the LFS, just the regular $99 reel, is made in Korea. So yeah, I've liked Luz stuff. Abu, no issues. DT in the house. What's up, my man? It used to be 2025 real, but who knows what the going rate is now since COVID at local shops. Yeah, that's true. I mean, who knows? Everything has gone up. So it could be, I don't know, 30, 35, 40. I hope not. I would think there'd be a point where people just aren't going to pay that. And like you would see a drop off. But I say that about everything. And I don't know.
Prices just keep going up. At some point, you just get
Right.
used to it and accept it.
Yeah, it's just, what are you going to do? Not use the thing or not? When people always gripe about gas, like I never check gas prices. Like there's people that'll drive around town and get the, I'm like, what am I going to do? Not gas up? Be like, oh, too expensive. I'm not gassing up today. Like I need gas. So I'm going to check it. I'm not going to drive 5 miles to get it for 2 cents cheaper,
Yeah. Spend all of the savings driving to the
Right.
to the other gas station.
Scott, there you are. Scott, for the $10 bomb, I'll drink to that, brother. Thank you.
Me too.
Who's the go-to for repairing spinning reels, Daiwa that have missing parts? So you mean like a person to contact? I get those questions a lot. I don't have a person. I mean, I was going to say Adam, on here. If I think he does reel repair, I don't know. That's why I wanted to ask first. But a lot of those guys that do the cleaning have extra parts laying around. For me, if you need a part, I actually had a Daiwa that the Tatula that I broke. Well, I bent the handle, and it stripped the handle nut that holds your handle onto the main shaft. I was frog fishing. I hit it super hard, and it stripped that nut off, which ruined the whole main shaft. So I did a video on that, repairing that one. Actually, I think it was the Tatula 200. But I just called Daiwa and said, hey, I've got this. I looked at the part number. Is this correct? They're like, yep. I have my exploded diagram from the reel box. I looked at it. I'm like, is that correct? Yep. Can you send me that? And they sent it to me. I think it was like $8. I want to say $5 for shipping, something like that. So $12 to fix the reel, which is, I think, very reasonable.
It's a lot cheaper than a brand new reel.
That's right. So yeah, Scott, I wish I could help you more. Who goes for repairing? I would say if you know how to do it and just need the parts, I would just say Daiwa. Call them. I'm surprised at the number of people that don't like. Can I find a shop or something? I'm like, man, just call the company. Usually they'll hook you up. But as far as like somebody to do it, I don't know. That is a great question. I always say check your local tackle shops and stuff. A lot of times they'll have like a certified partner or whatever that has works with Shimano or somebody, but they'll do usually all the work on any of them anyway. So
I find that when you need replacement parts, a lot of the time it's definitely worth it to call whomever made it, because sometimes a part will just be sent out for free because they know that it's a common failure. Whereas if you go to the local tackle shop, they'll sell it to you for a handful of dollars or many, many dollars when you could have had it for nothing.
Chris, yes, thanks for setting me. Paul goes the worm gear. Thank you. For some reason, I was like, is that right? That doesn't sound right. You ever have that where you say something like, that doesn't sound right? What? Second guessing myself here. Okay, here's one. Yeah, I figured we would get into this. Yes, hammer, another good point. Usually less is more when you're working on your reels. So oil, grease, all that. Generally less is more. So don't think that, I want it to be really smooth. I'm going to put a crap ton of grease on the main gear or on my drag. What happens, it's going to bind it up because that extra grease, all of it can't hold on to the gear. So usually, like if you take reels apart, a lot of times that grease will be spun out. Like for when everybody does this, they take the reel and go and spin the handle to see how smooth it goes. It's just flinging that grease on the inside carriage of the inside piece of that reel. So yeah, enough to make it good and smooth, but you don't need to overdo it. Like if putting one amount is good, putting 3 times the amount should be 3 times better, right? No. Yeah, and same thing goes for your drag grease too. It should just be the tiniest amount. I just put a little on my finger and rub it in just so that drag can move smoothly because it's friction based, right? So it's as line is pulling out, it's those washers, how tightly they're pushed together and creating friction. So you just want those to move smooth, but if you put too much on, then it would just be like getting oil on your hands. You can't get a good grip. Same thing goes for your drag, and you're going to lose drag power. So, Jason, yeah, this was a question I thought would come up. I think so, yes, for certain things. Go Gomexus and the ones at Spool Speed that Scott sells are my two favorite. I think Gomexus probably has the best ones on the market right now. But they're expensive. They're like $45 if you can get them on sale on Amazon. So the thing for me is I do like a larger handle knob for things where I'm setting the hook hard. Frog fishing, jig fishing, not all handles are bad, but like some of the, like the Zillion, for example. I bought one from Oklahoma's Worst Angler, Alex, and he already had some on there, and I love it because I hate those Daiwa handles. So I would say if it's just like a handle of like, do I need to do it to all of them? No. But if you have one that you use all the time and you don't really like the handles on it, I think it's worth it. You can get into handle length. Supposedly if you have, a longer lever that you're cranking and it's supposed to be easier to move. With a lot of the baits that you're using, the drag's not that much where it's like that crazy noticeable. Like, oh, I went from a 90 to 110 millimeter handle and it's just night and day difference. I wouldn't say that, but for some things, winding bigger baits and stuff, you can get into kind of an easier rhythm. Like you can reel it slower with that. So there's a number of different thoughts on it, but for me, the biggest thing is I like a bigger handle, a little bit larger, just so I'm not nicking my knuckles. Because on some of those that have like the real short little 90 millimeter handle, and then the little handle knobs, setting the hook hard, I'll be reeling and then feel that fish and do this, and I've cut the heck out of my knuckles on some of the smaller reels. So that's what I like to switch it for. Yeah, Randy. So good question, Mr. Sully. Do you grease the drag washers? Yes, the tiniest amount, like I said, just so it's enough to move smoothly when line comes off. Add too much and you will lose all your drag power and you'll have it cranked down and it's still just going out like butter. You're like, what's wrong? Too much. Just the tiniest amount. Trays, yeah, I don't know. Let me look. What is it? Is it just Trey Harple? And then he has, because I watched a couple a long time ago. I'm not the best at keeping up on everybody's YouTube stuff. But I think he does. You might want to look. Because I think, Trey Harple, TH Customs. That's what it is. Yeah. So Trey Harple is his name. So it says reel cleaning, tuning, Boca bearing upgrades, custom lure painting design. Man, he does a bunch of stuff. Trey Harple, TH Customs is his YouTube channel. So let's see. You feel like the most stock carbon drags are fine enough? Yeah, if it's a regular carbon fiber drag, those are usually good. It's the same thing. If they get really, really old, they can get smashed. Doesn't happen nearly as quick as with like the felt and some of those cheapy plastic. I don't even know if it's a plastic or what it is, but if it's like a regular stock carbon fiber, most of those have been good. The aftermarket ones are really tough. So if you have something other than that, your drag's not working, it's a cheap replacement to fix it. Let's see. Yeah,
one of the things I was just going to say, one of the things that I like about aftermarket handles is just personalizing the reel.
Sure. Yep.
I don't think that I would notice a difference in the amount of leverage I could apply with a centimeter and a half or even 2 or 3 centimeters more handle.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not 9-day difference. For me, it's more of like a comfort thing. Some of them, maybe it does feel a little easier. Blind Eye's talking about that too. And maybe per person, some people can tell, easier than me.
I do like different knobs on occasion. My Lexa on my swim bait rod has the double handle with the big knobs. And my
is it the black and blue
Tatula pitch and flip? What color is it? Like a gunmetal
I use those.
gray.
That's another one actually that I liked a lot too.
It's not the one with the T-wing. It's the one with the.
Oh no, I meant the handles, the Daiwa handles.
Oh, the
black and blue, the wind grip ones.
They yes, they are wind grips on mine.
Yeah, I like those too. I got a couple of actually. Those were ones I got on sale on Amazon for I think like $25, $20, something like that. I got a couple. I like those.
Those rubber sleeves that you put over top of your handles on some of your reels, you Do you find that it's just easier to grab on, or
Yep.
is it easier to hold on when it's wet? Is it both of those things?
Both. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know they make the wind ones now. I showed that on my SLX, the video I just did. They do make
Yeah.
some rubber ones too. I forget what those are called, but yeah, I just like, I hate like if I'm really setting the hook hard, I hate like the little tiny thin ones that where it's like I feel like I'm reeling like this. Like it's,
Yeah.
I don't know. I would rather have something like to actually grab onto. So for me, it's kind of a comfort and slip thing. Yeah, I think some of them are a lot more tacky, so it helps
Yeah.
grab. Let's see. So people are talking about some real repair places and stuff around their areas. Saber, good question. Yeah, that's another thing I wanted to get into too, because I know a lot of the reel replaces will have like old used reels, people that turn in and stuff. I would say Facebook Marketplace that's where I ended up finding like my old E series, like the Corrado E, the old greenies, not the old Bantam greenies, but they're the E series Corrado. Is a great place. eBay, people will try to screw you on prices on those. I've noticed. I've seemed to find like local better. American Legacy is another good place. I just missed out. They had I think a 100 size 100E on there. One of the old green ones. I missed it. I would have bought it, but they do a ton of like trade-in stuff. So American Legacy is good for that. Finding those, I've seen multiple of the old green Corrados on there where you can find them. Yeah, those would kind of be my places to go to and look for stuff. Let's see what else we got. People talking about some shows. It is show season. Those are all going on now. Cisco, my anti-reverse went out on my CR80. Any place I can find a replacement, or is it best to just buy a new reel? Well, I would say you could look and try to find the part and see if you can get that on like eBay. I'm sure there's other places you can get them, but otherwise I would just call Daiwa. Like I was saying with my the main shaft of mine, I called Daiwa. They sent me the exact thing. It wasn't too crazy. So you just kind of have to judge that and weigh that against it. I've not
And
actually.
also, Cisco, remember to check and make sure that it's actually kaput and not just gummed up.
Yep, clean it out. Use some alcohol on like some cotton swabs. Clean that out, and then just put the tiniest amount of grease on there, just to make sure those run smooth. But yeah, I don't know. I would honestly just hit up Daiwa, get one. Yes, Daniel, I agree. It's insane how everything is so expensive. That is the way it goes. Everything just keeps going up, and my check keeps going down when I get it. Let's see. More people, bass and treble, people talking back and forth. Yeah, I agree. That's what I've heard too. So trying to fix those and like the little pieces, they're actually those little barrel things that run in it. I've heard it's way cheaper just to replace the whole thing. I've never done it on one yet. I would like to. It's really just pushing that piece out and then pushing a new one in. But let's see. People talking about paying for some other things. B-Lat's at the show up there. Exactly. Going to go say hi to B-Lat.
Yeah, I was thinking, I'm not going to drive all the way to Toronto just to go to that show. But now I'm upset that I can't go. I got to take Heather to work tomorrow.
Dang it. Oh, that's interesting.
I like B-Lat.
Yeah, Hammers.
He's a funny guy.
Yep. I like B-Lat. He would be a fun one to talk to, pick his brain on some stuff. Hammer, I didn't realize this. Bass Pro Shops used to have and repair reel service parts. Huh, that's cool. I didn't know that. Let's see. Does Bass Pro? There's another question. I don't know if they still do or not. I haven't been to a Bass Pro. The closest one we have is over by Des Moines, so it's like a 2.5 hour drive from my place. I haven't been over there in forever. Let's see. You can find most diagrams for Shimano online. Yeah, that's the good part about. That's actually a really good point to bring up. Is if you have a reel, most of those exploded diagrams and stuff, if you don't have the box, and the actual paper, most of the companies now have them online. So if you go look up your, Corrado K or whatever, they'll have the whole thing there for you, parts list and everything. So, let's see. Yep, that's what the part manual for. Yep. Shimano sells parts for most of their reels and offers repairs. Yeah, I think a lot of the companies do. I want to say Daiwa had parts on there or something. But I remember I wanted to call just to make sure it was the right one because they had like, a service warranty or whatever. And they were super nice. I'd never called them before. So I appreciate that. Like I said, I don't care if a company messes something up or if there's a service issue or whatever, as long as they make it right. That's the way it should be. Stuff happens. So, people talking about different repair station stuff. Yeah. Hit up your local, the small local shops too. A lot of those will have it. Let's see. Hashtag War Eagle. I don't have, look at, I am full up. I'm not even going to do a giveaway tonight. I am full up. Next week I'll have to make up for it. I wanted to have everything out. I had emailed a couple people, dog hair, emailed a couple people saying, yep, I'll have them out early this week. And I still didn't get to it. Oh my gosh. Get your life together. So I have Monday off. Monday, I plan on getting all those done, getting them all ready and out into the mail. So, but I'll make up for it. I'll get some good stuff here. We'll do some, I was actually just cleaning lures and stuff. And I've got, if you can see this, some of these like Rubbermaid, like pull out drawer things. And over on this side of the basement, cause this is like a little room, like 12 by 12 room. And then like the whole other like big part of the basement's over there. But anyway, I was moving stuff around and I found like 3 of those extra bins we had from my girls, markers and whatever toy crap they had, and filled a bunch of that up with like lures and stuff. I was looking through. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to give some more of this away. I've got too much. It's a good thing. And again, listen, it's because of all you watching and supporting. I wouldn't have all this. So I want to give back. Yeah, Hammer. I do the same. If people were talking about what should you use to put the grease and stuff on, I use just a little paintbrush as well. And clean it off, use it again.
Don't use Q-tips for applying because you'll get lint inside the little bearings.
Little fibers. Yeah, you can pull those little fibers can pull off and get stuck in your bearings and gears and such.
Yeah.
You can use it to clean. Just be careful because even I'll use like the Q-tips to get in there and clean stuff. Sometimes it'll kind of pull those little hair pieces off. Mr. Rob Kilty. I picked up a Daiwa Elite pitch and flip handle and put it on my Zillion. Oh, yeah, world of difference. Absolutely. Yeah, the pitch and flip handle is a good one. I messed around with that a little bit. I do like that one as well. Ooh, bass and treble. Good question. Yeah, what about replacing spools? I've seen some cool spools on eBay and Ally. Yeah, I have not messed around with any of that. I think so. I was talking to somebody about, I was on, I think, Japan Lure Shop or whatever, and they have some of like they're expensive. The ones that were on there, they were the actual dial ones, but they have like the MGL spools that you get separate. Where was I going with that? I was going to talk about not the MGL. I'm sorry. The SV spools, not MGLs, Shimano. That's what I was talking about. So the MGL spools instead, not gosh dang it. The SV, not the MGL. Geez, Debo, get your crap together. For Daiwa, they had them, but they were really expensive. But what I thought was cool is because it talked about the different ones that you could put it in, is mixing and matching. So if you could take like a Tatula 150 and put like an MGL spool in it, that'd be kind of cool, messing with some of that stuff. But yeah, they weren't cheap. The other thing I know is a lot of the companies now are selling the really shallow like BFS spools is a big thing. And I've had people ask me about that too, and I don't know. I've not messed with any of that. If there's a company out there that makes them or companies that make them and they say, it's exactly for this reel, then I don't see why it wouldn't work or wouldn't hurt. As long as it's made exactly for that one.
A lot of the BFS guys are always trying to find a lighter spool to go in their reels. Have you seen any of Reel Test videos where he spends 15 minutes weighing different spools?
yeah, he's a nerd on that stuff. Yeah, he's another one I need to get on. I talked to him quite a long time ago, but he goes super in depth of taking them apart, weighing stuff out. He does some of the casting videos out there. So yeah, he's another guy I need to hit up and get on here. That's the thing is I've been I don't know what I want to do for the lives, if I want to have people on or not. I don't know. Who knows what we're going to do with some of these, but Bast is putting the longer handle on, change the gear ratio. It does not. It's still the same gear going around. It's just either a larger or smaller handle on there. So no, that does not change your gearing.
My daughter came all the way downstairs just to bother me about how much empty space there was above my shiny head.
No, that's nice. The words of encouragement.
Yes.
Let's see. Yeah, on the bigger swim baits and stuff. Yeah, I would say that for sure. Like the bigger, they have to definitely have like more noticeable drag for that to be a deal. But like for for a lot of the stuff, it's like if you're throwing spinner baits, are you going to notice a big difference of torque? Nah, probably not. But for me, it's just a comfort thing, I think. So. Mm-hmm. Hammer on handle, replacing the knob bushings with bearings and shims if needed can make a huge difference in the feel of a handle, often a better upgrade. Yeah, that's true. I've got some really old handles that that would be great for, and they probably just need to be cleaned, honestly. But yeah, if you get some of those handles where like the knob feels like it's real stiff, a bushing is essentially just the same thing as a bearing, the same round piece and size and everything. It's just like a piece of plastic, right? So putting that bearing in there where it actually spins, just having that on the handle can make it feel a lot smoother as it's going around. Is it going to, change the performance and stuff? No, but I always say, was there any reason to spend $400 in a reel? Listen, if somebody's got the money to do it and you have a better time fishing that way, who's to tell you're in the wrong for doing it? So use what you like.
Some people may spend money on nothing else. They may be exceptionally frugal in all other parts of their life because they want to spend whatever they feel like spending on fishing.
Yeah, I've got a buddy I grew up with that was like that. Dude was frugal as hell. The only two things he would buy were smokes and any sort of parts or anything for his car. That is it. Dude spent money on nothing. Dude had the same jeans for like 27 years. But he always had to get his carton of smokes, and he's like, "Oh, I got a new exhaust for my car. That only cost $10,000." I'm like, dude.
When I was in high school, I pumped gas at a full-service fueling station, and the retired Scottish guy, Bob, that would drive the customers back to work or pick them up or whatever. One day I called him cheap, and he yelled, "I'm not cheap, I'm frugal."
Oh my gosh. Straight off The Simpsons, huh?
Yeah. I laughed for about a half an hour every time I looked at him. He got so mad because I kept laughing, but it was hilarious.
That's funny. I love listening to people with accents. I could go down that rabbit hole of Nick. Here's a good thing. I'm glad we got this in here. Nick said he's actually sent a handful of reels to Trey, and we were talking about before. Says does a great job. That's cool. Maybe we'll see if we can get him on sometime. I think Jim knows him. Tackle Junkie has talked to him. That might be a fun one. Maybe get us three on, and we could do an even more in-depth reel, who knows, dive. Jason, are reel maintenance kits worth it? I've got one. So I should have even. They were, I think, Reel Bros Bearings is what it was. They were a new company. It was two brothers. Bros Bearings are what they were. They sent me a shirt, some bearings. And a bearing kit, like cleaning little kit thing. I've shown it on my videos. I'll see. I don't know if it's over there. I'll go grab it. That thing is so handy because you've got everything in one little deal. You don't lose it. You've got everything you need. It's got a 9 and 10 millimeter wrench for your nut, the reel nut. Everything in there, your tweezers, all of it is right there. It is awesome. I love it. I'll go grab that here in a second. Let's see. People talking about other grips and stuff. Yeah. So if, for example, not a bot, it feels better to him. Yeah, it's a comfort thing. Let's see some of the Gamexes. People talking about Gamexes. People talking about when. Yeah, again, there's a perfect example. Lose, when they went from, which I love those larger wind knobs. They said it was always a 50-50 thing. People either loved them or hated them. So I liked them. But yeah, Chris, you know what we know. I love a big old pair of girthy knobs to grab onto. Chris, keep it PG, damn it. Matt said he could only stop in for a minute, but I appreciate you, brother. Love you too. Thanks for stopping in to say hi. Oh my gosh, T1D Steve, are we going to get on this? I've been giving crap about that for so long. So that's okay. Some people just don't know. So back in the day when I learned and when most people learned casting a bait caster, it was nearly impossible to find left-handed reels. So, with it actually on the winding handle on the left side. So that's why everybody you see, you're usually more able to articulate, do the finer things, flipping, pitching with the right hand. You cast it out, flip it over, and reel with it. People have different things they say now of why they do it. I'm actually a southpaw, so like when I skateboard, when I boxed, all that, I'm right hand forward, left hand behind. So my left hand has always been my power. So for me, it's more of a power thing having the reel there. But since then, I've learned to use both. But I think for most people that have learned how to use it back in the day, they just didn't have. You couldn't find left-handed bait casters. It wasn't a thing. So that's usually why most people that you see that way, that's just how they learned, or that's how their old man or grandpa taught them. So, but I will say, Steve, because there was a ton of people that say this guy's an idiot. Why does he switch hands? It's so much easier. I will say for a lot of like the short distance cast and retrieve stuff, having a left-handed reel, like if I'm just left-handed where I don't have to switch, it is great for that because you're not switching all the time. But for me, like if I'm flipping and pitching stuff, like when I set the hook hard, I want it in my left hand, like when on a really hard hook set. So that's why for me, I don't use the left-handed reels for like jigs, Texas rigs, anything like that. I would just prefer to use a right-handed. But
I'm the opposite when it comes to pitching and flipping. I reel with the left because the right is the one that I can pitch with accurately. And so I use a left hand retrieve so that if the fish starts taking it right away, I'm not losing time switching hands before I can set the hook. But when I throw buzz baits, it's almost always with a left hand retrieve because I want to be able to stop it right before it hits and start reeling before it's even in the water.
Yep. I don't notice that as much on like the longer casting stuff, but yeah, for short, like real short, chippy stuff, like if I'm throwing a spinnerbait around wood or like a chatterbait or something, it is nice having that left where I don't have to switch. I can just let's see, Hammer. Yeah, talking about American Legacy, you can pick up used stuff over there. People are asking where do you find used reels and stuff. Blind out, all my reels have the 100 or larger. I don't like the 90, 95. Yeah, I don't either. 90s are just too small. 95 is pretty standard, but yeah, 100. 110 even on some of mine I've tried. Oh yeah, like Cody says, I like the loose combat knobs, the flat ones with the dimples. Yep, that was one good change they made instead of just having the slick, the loose paddle ones that are kind of like I don't know what shape, almost kind of looks like a light bulb kind of type shape. But yeah, they added that stippling on there, those bumps to help. Oh my gosh, dude, that was an awesome game. Hawks beat the Badgers today. Yeah, in overtime. I was like, man, they're going to throw it away. They're going to throw it away. Especially once it went into overtime because Badgers had all the momentum. But, yeah, it was good to see them get a win. Sorry. Hawks need it. Badgers have, I don't know how many quad one wins. That was Hawks first. So, look at this. Let's say, Debo, what's the first bait you're going to get when you hit open water? My guy Greg, just about an hour north of me. Well, man, I don't know. Did I see a picture you caught your first one today? You old dog, you. Gosh, what is the first bait? I'm probably gonna say Ned rig. Lipless and spinnerbait seem to be usually my first fish of the year baits. So we'll see. But yeah, Ned it's just such a good bait. I don't care what people say if they hate it or not. It's so good.
How often do you find yourself pushing that topwater envelope and throwing it early, even though you think you're not getting a bite?
Oh, did he say topwater?
No, I'm just asking as a as a related question.
So like when do I switch, or like when do I start throwing?
Yeah, when are you gonna break out a spook or a frog or whatever? Are you gonna do it when the temperature is maybe not ideal and hope for the best, or are you going to wait until it hits that 60 degrees or?
Sometimes I will. It just depends. Yeah, usually it's that 60-ish degrees for me, 55, 60 in there. Like if I'm seeing, fish moving around shallow, chasing bait and stuff, great time to try it. But yeah, usually it's like into May, beginning of June, I feel like is kind of for us is when that top water kind of kicks in that, okay, they're going to start going off here. I know the guys in the South are already throwing them, fish on beds and stuff, but that's kind of for me.
Yeah. I always start early because the pike are psychotic and they'll just hit whatever. So even if the water's a bit cold, I'm going to try and see if I can get a pike to bite a spook.
Absolutely. Psych. I went to the show in Houston today and got some pretty cool eyelet hooks called line hooks. Ever heard of them? No, I have not. Line hooks. What would that even be? Eyelet hooks? What would that be used for?
I also have not heard of them.
Huh. Tell us what that would be. I guess I'm not sure. Trying to think of that in my head, what that would be for. Pretty cool eyelets.
Google it and share the screen. Let's see what
I
happens.
just did. And yeah, it's just showing
Oh,
hooks like pre-rigged, like snelled hooks and stuff. Maybe that's what he's talking about. I don't know. I'm not sure what that would be.
Did you spell it right? L-I-N? No
Yep.
E?
Yep. LIN hooks. I don't know. Let us know if it's a cool product. Oh, eyeless hooks. So you would have to snell it. Is that what these are?
If it's what I think it is, then yes, they have to be snelled.
No, I have not heard of those. I don't know how that would work. How that would be a deal.
Hellabass Rich wants to know if you're having me on in lieu of shipping to Canada.
Yes, exactly. So I can say, oh, you're a Canadian friend. Well, actually, I'm not going to ship you stuff. You actually got to see a Canadian on here. So that's prize enough. So yeah. Let's see. I have no real places near me. Osama, he said no giveaway. A bunch of people left. Yeah, maybe that's the thing. Maybe that's the only reason people watch me. There was a guy running me through the coals. I ended up blocking him because he just seemed like a prick. But he's talking about, don't watch this guy. He's the biggest lie and cheat, scam, all this. I'm like, who the F are you?
I don't know where people get this crap from.
Yeah. I'm like, what the hell? He's like, the only reason people watch your lives because you give away stuff. You're this and that. I'm like, get a life, idiot. If you don't like me, just go watch somebody else. So I don't know. What real oil do I recommend? I have the Shimano Bantam oil is the big one that I have. You can get them. I mean, if you have like a loose reel or whatever, they come with the free ones. I've used those and they're just fine. Otherwise, I was sharing earlier with folks. I'm still sharing here. I got some of this to try. I've heard good things about this. Multiple people have liked this, the Lucas Oil loose stuff. This Daiwa stuff I've used, I really like. That's what Frank said he used as well. And I think those are the main ones that I've had. I think I had some of the Abu back in the day as well. Oh, here's the kit kind of thing. I forgot all about that. But yeah, this is kind of the thing that I have. It's got that, the tweezers, the cleaning deal. It doesn't have this stuff. I can go grab it. It's even got like a bearing puller and stuff on it. It's super handy. Frank, I'll let you run with this one. What was the last time you changed the fluorocarbon or braid on your favorite reel? How often do you change your line?
I change my fluorocarbon fairly frequently. It's a few times a season just because of the number of times that I'm cutting off line. I don't like to see too much of a gap between the top of the line and that top of the spool. The braid, I change at least twice a year on my 1,000 size reels and one of my 2,500s and one of my 3,000s. And that's just because I'm switching from something that casts better in open water to something that does not absorb the water when I'm ice fishing. Because instead of having separate reels that go on the ice rods and separate for the open water, I just switch the reels over when the weather gets cold. So lots of people will go a season, 2 seasons, 3 seasons without changing their braid, but I wouldn't be able to do that. Actually, even if I wasn't switching over for ice, I don't think I'd be able to do it because of the number of times I retab my leader just to make sure there's nothing wrong with my leader knot.
Yeah, it's just a quick deal to make sure you've got, I know people talking about fluorocarbon, but yeah, for sure. For the beginning of the year, if I've had stuff sitting all year, I just change it to be safe. Let's see. So here's what I got. And it was category 5. I forgot they had sent me stuff too. Bros Bearings had sent me some of their bearings and stuff. But it was category 5 that sent me this. And this thing has been amazing. So it's got a little thing here. So it even came with some orange seal bearings. It's got your spool pin puller here. I guess you wouldn't really call it a puller. It's a pusher, I guess. And it's essentially just so your spool pin, the retaining pin for your spool bearing, if I can get it out of here, is just like a little tiny piece of metal, like a little tiny pin. You have to be very careful not to bend that, pulling it out. So this thing goes over the spool and then it just screws in like this. Put it in there where that would go. Then you just twist it down and it just pushes that pin straight out. So that's been handy. I've also got the Boca one, which is like a pair of pliers, and it pushes the pin down too. So either one, but get one for that. Don't try, because I did try to get one out with just a pair of pliers, and I ended up marring it up and needed a new pin. So then again, there you go, spending $15 to get a little tiny piece of metal that's like this big because you messed it up. It comes with this thing. That's the wrench with your 9 and 10 millimeter sizes on each deal there. I also have a little Allen key for the diodes that need the Allen deal. Here's your little bearing puller. So to get in there, pull parts, pull springs, anything like that. It's got the different size bearing wheel deal here. So it helps you pull bearings out, or you can set them on there to spin them and test them. It's got the different sizes there you can see. So you can put them on and test to see if it's spinning smooth. It's got the tweezers, which are great for all your little retaining pins, all the little pieces of wires, screws, anything like that. It's got your brush, to clean it around, move parts around. And then the screwdriver, which is nice. It's got your flat and Phillips, and it's got the, the round thing back here where you're holding it. You can go, and then this piece comes out. So the whole kit is actually extremely handy to have because you got everything in one. So if you can find one, I looked, and I don't think last time, I don't know if they still have a site or not, Category 5 bearings. There might be other companies that make this, but this thing, one little deal. And it was absolutely handy as heck to have that. So people are asking about, let's see, did they still show Category 5? Category 5 bearings. Do they have the real kit? Sold out. It was $35 is what they sell it for on their site. They sent it to me for free and all, transparency. But yeah, the thing is insanely nice. So I like having that as a handy thing to keep with you when you're working on them. All right, let's see. Let's take a couple more questions, and I think we're going to call it an early night. Lucas Real Oil. Jim, speak of the devil, there he is. Jim, we need to get you. And are you the one that knows Trey Harple? We were talking about reel cleaning and stuff. Be a fun one to get me, you, and him on. I don't know the guy, and I think you said you know him or talked to him. Let's see. Couple more questions. What do we got? Jim saying hi, blowing up the chat in here. Go check out Jim, Tackle Junkie TJ81. If you guys don't know him, he's a good cat. People talking about reel test again. Maybe I'll hit him up and see if we can get him on to talk stuff.
I'm glad Jim is here because I sent him a message asking him if he had a chance to watch either of the last 2 weekends so he could give me some constructive criticism if he had any, because I said I wanted to help you, not make your live stream suck. So
no, any help having somebody else keep eyes on all this stuff. Let's see. I don't see any more questions. Let's see. Get a chance. Ooh, Mike, I'll be honest. I am not the guy to talk about completely tearing down and doing spinning reel maintenance. Little springs and stuff in there, I hate doing them. I can do a spin or a bait caster in no time at all. Spinning reels, I honestly hate farting with all of them. Let's see. Oh, it must be Hella that knows Trey. Trey's another big guy into the Dobbins rods. Ah, okay. So it must have been Hella. Well, maybe we'll have to see if we can get Hella and him on. We can do that. Let's see. Let's do one more question. One more. People talking about runs. Chatterbait. What else we got? What is going on? Ooh, here's a good one to end on. What's going on with all the 13 fishing baits on clearance and rods and reels? I noticed a number of places had their stuff on clearance. I don't know. I'm not sure if they're getting out of the bait stuff, if it's because I thought maybe it was because Rapala recently bought them out or something, but it sounds like they've owned them for a while. I don't know. Yeah, they had rods, reels on clearance, baits on clearance.
They were the minority owner up until recently. Now they can't remember if it's just a majority, if they own the whole thing, but I
Oh,
think we talked about it last weekend too. But my guess is that because they have Crush City and whatever else is going on, that it doesn't make
yep.
sense to have too many brands because it's a lot more expensive to market that many brands. It's a lot more expensive to have that many different packages that need to be made and that many different production lines going. So maybe that's all it is. Maybe
Okay.
they're going to take those resources and reallocate them into soft plastics from another brand that they own.
That makes sense. Yeah, if they're all in the same
But,
umbrella, yeah. If that's what they're putting all their new, push into,
but
probably just keep the
I'm
13
guessing
rods in those.
I'm not an industry insider, regrettably.
I get it. All right. Well, listen, folks, we're going to call it a night for tonight. It was a quick, fun one. Sorry we couldn't get more into the weeds on some of this stuff. Hopefully, Adam's okay. He never messaged me back saying, I'm sorry, I'm not going to make it or anything. So I bet he probably fell asleep or something. But we'll be back again next week. Hopefully, maybe if you guys like the lives, let me know if you think they're just the same thing every week. Maybe I don't do them anymore, but maybe it was just a couple angry people that didn't like my lives. But if you like them, let me know. And if you ever have ideas for lives and stuff, I appreciate those as well. So I'm getting out of here. Enjoy your weekend. Love y'all. Thank y'all for watching. And until next time.
Thanks, everybody.